Alrighty, welcome back to week 6 of Brown Balls podcast. We just had an exciting week 3 of NFL football. I'm Tapas, my best friend right here, Kenil. How's it going, man?
What up, man? It's awesome, dude. Week 3, man. Do you believe we're almost done with a quarter of the season? It's crazy, man. Almost.
It's going so fast, man. It's going so fast.
Dude.
We have a lot to talk about. A lot of upsets. I'm sure you're happy with the Rams win. That was kind of a crazy game. But let's
Dude.
actually get into the Monday Night Football games we had going on. One was not even close. The other one got kind of close, which was surprising. To kick off Monday, we had the Bills against the Jaguars. Bills won overwhelmingly 47-10. Completely blew them out in the first quarter, pretty much. And then we had the Bengals versus the Commanders, which the Commanders ended up coming up on top, 38-33. I thought it was a closer game because it didn't look very good for the Bengals in the first half, but they did have a little bit of a spread at the end. But what do you take with, man? Which game do you want to go over first?
I mean, there's not much to talk about Jags and the Bills, man. The game was over in the first quarter.
Yeah. That was rough to see. What are your thoughts on Trevor Lawrence? I have never been a big believer in. I know Nick Wright. I watch a lot of First Take, or not First Take, but the Nick Wright show with Chris Broussard and Wild.
First Take,
yeah.
I mean, first. Yeah.
Yeah, and he's big. He called him the Prince. I was promised all this stuff, and I've never thought Trevor Lawrence was that. Like, I mean, he's a good quarterback. Don't get me wrong, but not the next big thing. What are your thoughts? I mean, he didn't look good today at all.
I mean, he looked a little promising when he was in college in Clemson, right? That's where he played for, I think, but never sold either as an NFL QB. I don't know. He just seemed a little off, to be honest.
Yeah,
it's showing. He would do better with the coaching change they had last year. They brought in Eagles ex-coach, and so I thought he's that offensive guru, right? I mean, Carson Wentz, he coached. Then he coached Nick Foles. They won Super Bowl under him. So I thought he would work his magic and help Trevor Lawrence out. But I don't think Lawrence is actually working out right now, man. It's not clicking.
No.
There's not an it factor there.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, he has weapons, right? He has Christian Kirk. He has Gabe Davis, who was a really good weapon for the Bills, and so they have surrounded him with pretty good players. I just think I don't think he's quite living up to expectations. I know Mac Jones came in this game. He had a QBR of almost less than 20. And I think that there was even a stat that he has the most turnovers in the NFL over the last 2 seasons, which, again, doesn't say well for him. I know a lot of young quarterbacks are getting the heat right now with Bryce Young and them. I think Trevor Lawrence is one of those case studies, too, because I don't think he's quite living up to the hype that's promised of him. I don't know if it's Jacksonville itself or if it's just him not necessarily growing, because I don't see what his next step is. His ceiling, again, just like a lot of other quarterbacks, he's almost at his ceiling already. I don't know if he can get any better. He's a good passer, but besides that, he's not a good game manager.
I mean, it's crazy, like the media is not making a big deal out of him, to be honest. People make a big deal out of Bryce Young, being the buzz. But people are not talking about Trevor Lawrence. He's his 3rd season, I think, and he's not playing well, man. I mean, he's not that that quarterback you need, that star potential, leading that franchise, and they're playing a weak division though. I mean, I know they have Indianapolis and they have Houston, but they're not juggernauts, I mean, you saw Houston losing to Minnesota, right? So he's a backup QB, so I mean, I don't know.
Yeah, I agree. He's not quite living up to his potential. On the other hand, kind of what I expected, and I think when we talk about preseason stuff, I did mention that Josh Allen will be a lot better this year. I think the Bills will be a lot better just because they had the addition by subtraction, similar to the Lakers getting rid of Westbrook. I think because they got rid of Stephon Diggs, he does look a lot more comfortable. He's feeling himself. He's running the ball more, which I think he wants to do. And his supporting cast is definitely killing it. I mean, and today the defense looked unstoppable. It looked kind of crazy how good they were playing. But he just makes it look so easy out there, especially when in the first 2 quarters, they could not stop him. It looked so easy. Even the commentator was getting frustrated. What are the Jaguars doing? Why is the defense this porous? And he just kind of dissected them all from the beginning to the end.
I agree with you, man. I agree with you about that.
Yeah, it was a crazy game, but let's get to the game that was very interesting, which is the Commanders against the Bengals. And the Bengals were supposed to be Super Bowl favorites, and they are 0-3 now. They're really struggling. What's going on there, man? What do you think is happening?
team, right? I remember I picked KC, Baltimore, and Cincinnati.
Yeah.
Man, I'm shocked. 0-3. Yeah, I thought they would win. I mean, against a rookie QB,
Exactly.
Jaden McDaniels, and like, wow, what a coming out party for him on a national television game right now, man, on ESPN. It's like, whoa. And both LSU, former QBs facing off. That was really interesting too. They showed love to each other, man. But it's crazy. You want to hear a crazy stat about today's game, though, man? Crazy stat, like. Yeah. All right, so I was kind of like going through Twitter, now they call it X, right? So guess what? Today's game, right? There's a history that happened. It was the first game since 1940 where there was no punts or turnovers.
Oh wow,
that's what I found. I mean, I don't know how fact that is. Huh? Maybe people can check, but that's what I came across. No punts or turnovers, but either team.
Wow,
not one team. Either of the team.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, no interceptions. Yeah, no punt returns at all.
No turnovers. Yeah, it's insane. Man.
There were fumbles, but no fumbles lost. So yeah, that's surprising. I didn't think about that. Yeah. I mean, it was a high scoring game. Again, I think the first I watched up until halftime, and when Jaden McDaniels scored that touchdown, I was like, okay, the Bengals are not going to win this game. They can't stop this kid. And then I know in the fourth quarter they did have a little bit of comeback, but yeah, I don't know what's going on with Cincinnati. I don't know if Burrow is really injured or not because I mean he had a good game, 324 with three touchdowns.
He actually had a better game. He actually had a better game than
McDaniels. Yeah. Jamar Chase had 18 yards and 2 touchdowns. I mean, everything you expect, and you when you see that stat line, you're like, yeah, and they're playing the Commanders. Okay, this should be an easy win. Maybe it is just the defense is not living up to what they need to be because I felt the offense looked pretty good out there. And I don't know, what's going on in Cincinnati because they are surprising at 0-3.
I mean,
might as well just watch the season. Just let Burrow rest and just call it a season.
I don't know what's going to happen. I mean, how do you deficit? I mean, you got to win one game. Obviously, you can take 1 week at a time now. You can't, I mean, think about it. They got to win 3 straight games just to get to 500. Their division is not easy. It's kind of competitive as well. I got to put it. I understand Joe Burrow, his September record is horrible, but this is really bad against a Commander team
at some
that had
point,
no business.
You dig yourself. Yeah. You dig yourself into a big hole that you can't get out of. And I think that's true.
Yeah, I'm shocked. I really thought they were going to win today.
Yeah,
they were going to win today. I didn't expect them to lose, especially in the first half. They're down 21-7. Like that game was over, kind of. Yeah, they made that run and they made it a 5-point loss. I think. I mean, the score is not going to really justify the whole game. I mean, the game was off. I mean, it was done. I mean, Washington Commanders on a 3rd and 7. When they needed that first down, they scored. Boom. It's like put it away. So.
I think the Cowboys. I know that there's a lot of surprises happening this season, right? Yeah. I think the Bengals being 0-3 is probably the biggest surprise of all. I don't expect the Cowboys, being 1-2. I did expect that a little bit actually. The Niners being 1-2 is also a surprise too. But I think the Bengals being 0-3, I think they just dug themselves a big hole, and it's not gonna be a good season for them. I think they should really evaluate Joe Burrow and see if he just really needs to rest. Get Jamar Chase his contract. Did he get his contract? Not yet, right? His contract yet?
Nope. He did not.
Yeah. So I don't know what they should do at this point because it did not look like a pretty game at all. And then when I saw the Monday night lineup, I was like, yeah, the Bills will be the Jaguars, no problem. And the Bengals should win against the Commanders. Like that should be a gimme for them. And the fact that they were not even competitive until the very end, and it's kind of like the Cowboys Ravens game where you just knew which was the better team, which team was going to win. And then the Cowboys had a little bit of surge at the end, and same with the Bengals, but you just knew that the game was over because the Ravens got what they wanted, and so did the Commanders.
Sometimes it's hard to come back from a large
deficit. Let's talk about that game. That wasn't... Yeah, that's true. Your stat about 0-14 not making the playoffs, I mean, that's definitely going to be happening. I think they really should evaluate what's going to be going on. But let's talk about the Cowboys and Ravens. That was another surprising game. Honestly, I thought it'd be a lot closer, and it was close on the scoreboard, but you just kind of knew the Ravens had this game from the beginning. It just Lamar was just running anywhere he wants. Dak had a little bit of a surge at the end, but a lot of finger pointing. Did you see the post game? CD Lamb, Dak getting into it.
Marco Parsons.
Micah Parsons calling out some people. It's just like, do you think there's trouble brewing there? What's going on with that? Your second favorite team.
Yeah, throw that in. Second favorite team. Yeah. To be honest, Micah Parsons post game statement, that everyone's trying to be Superman here. Made me laugh. The media was dumbfounded. Like, we was like, what do you mean by that? It's like,
right.
Everyone just got to play their role. Like, stop being Superman. Stop being, be that guy. Just play your role. And like, you have to just basically, if you don't play in that system that they're giving you, and you want to be that main playmaker, you're gonna give up a large play. That's what Lamar Jackson did on them. He knew that Cowboys were not sinking on defense, and he just basically, put them apart and, just scored on them, man. But yeah, the game was closer, like you said, but again, they were down large. It was bad. It was like super bad, man. They're down by 3 touchdowns. I don't know what's going on with Cowboys, man. No idea.
The Cowboys, again, just so much hype, and I love to see it because the Cowboy fans are relentless. They will, beat their chest until then once the things start going south, like, oh no, is this person's fault? Is that person's fault? Oh my God. Michael Parsons saying, someone playing Superman. And if you watched a couple of the analysts, are saying that he was the one that's trying to be Superman. He was the one that's not fully going into the cover that he needed to be. He had to be QB spy. He had to keep an eye on Lamar Jackson, but he's trying to be Superman and trying to rush. And that's how Lamar Jackson is able to get open. Like, there's a lot of plays that he himself did not do what he needed to do. And then I also like the fact that Dak, at the press conference, he says that, we need to be more professional. I think that was going more towards CD Lamb, because CD Lamb, he had that fumble, which, I mean, the guy literally took it out of your hands, and you fumbled the ball, and then you're blaming Dak for that. Like, they got into heat exchange. It's like, but it's your fault. Like, Dak threw you a perfect ball. You caught it. You just couldn't hold on to it. And then you get to our team, and then he's yelling at Dak on the sideline. Like, I didn't get that part either. I was like, why are you blaming Dak when you're the one? Maybe he's just frustrated with his play. He's taking out somebody else. But like, that was also something that was interesting to see, because like, why are you blaming Dak on that? It was your fault. You lost a fumble.
Man, CeeDee Lamb got his bag, right? He got paid. That he wanted, the money he wanted, right? He wanted to be that top receiver. He got paid like a top receiver, right? Now go out and play like a top receiver. Like,
exactly.
Look at the contrast of this two players I'm going to talk about. Justin Jefferson playing with a backup QB, right? Sam Darnold, versus CeeDee Lamb playing against a Pro Bowl Jack Prescott, right? And fine. Jack sometimes makes a mistake, whatnot, but you are a star receiver. Go get the ball. Don't make that turnover.
Yeah.
Don't drop the ball, right? I mean, how are you only gonna have 4 receptions for 67 yards or something? Whatever he had. Only 4 receptions. I mean, compared to Justin Jefferson against a backup QB that he's playing with, that they're 3-0 right now, Minnesota, go flat out goes and plays and gets 100-something yards with 6-7 receptions, right? So, I mean, I totally blame this on CeeDee Lamb. He wanted that money. He wanted to be that, top receiver paid, and he got his bag, and go out and prove it. He's not doing that.
Yeah, I know. And one of the biggest critiques that I think I saw, especially on today's some of the overreaction, was they had a chance to get Derrick Henry in that team, and because their rushing is so poor, they don't have good rushers. I mean, they have an old Ezekiel Elliott who's like barely a shell of himself.
He's done,
and so like there's just not good running backs, and they could have gotten Derrick Henry if they maybe had decided on who to pay how much. They decided to go all in on Dak Prescott. They go all in on CeeDee Lamb. Pay him the money. They had no more money for Derrick Henry. I feel like if Derrick Henry was in this team,
they made Pollard walk. Pollard was their guy
too, right? So like, there's so much stuff they could have done, and they didn't decide to do that. And now they're stuck with this team. And again, to Dak's, and now this is the only time I'll actually defend Dak. To his credit, he has been playing well since he got signed, and he's been playing consistent. He's been playing better and more safe, and he's putting his team in the position to win. Now it's just the defense is not what it used to be. I even said it was one of the top defenses. It does not look like that at all.
I thought that was too.
Exactly. And then, CeeDee Lamb out there being frustrated. Like, it's just one of those things where, the Eagles are just going to coast this division pretty easily, honestly.
I mean, hey man, now don't miscount Commanders. They're tied with Eagles.
I know 2-1. They're 2-1 too. Never mind.
I was just joking, man. Commanders are not going to win the division. I'll be shocked if they.
How hilarious would that be, honestly, if the Commanders won a division?
Dude,
my God.
But like you said, man, Jack didn't have a bad game, man. He had 379 yards with 2 touchdowns. What more can you ask for a QB? Same thing with, Joe Burrow today, right? He had like 300 something yards with 2 touchdowns as well, too. They lost, right?
Yeah.
It's just that the other people are not stepping up. And, to be honest with you, man, it's not really the offense not clicking. Their defense is getting run out of the game. Like even against New Orleans, it was a defense. It's not stopping. Kamara had like 3 touchdowns or 4 touchdowns, whatever he had the last week. And now, come on, the game was over, right? The defense is not stopping them at all. And even the first half against the Baltimore Ravens, couldn't stop. They let Lamar Jackson do whatever the hell he wants, let Derrick Henry do whatever the hell he wants, and they're down big in the first half. I mean, I don't know.
They're one of those teams that, like, if they have the lead, they're a good team. They can win the game easily. They need to get ahead, so that way they can start rushing the passer. But like once they get behind, or if they're down a little bit, then they start playing more conservative. And especially a team that can run the ball, they have no answer for that whatsoever. Which again, if you're planning to make the Super Bowl, you have to beat the likes of Saquon Barkley. You have to beat the likes of McCaffrey when he's healthy. It's just gonna be there's a lot more running backs in the higher tier teams that are really good. Even Derrick Henry, for example, like they're not gonna be good for long term. I think again, this is just gonna be the way the Cowboys are. You hype them up. You start off really, really strong. You win the first game against a really crappy, now it looks like a crappy Browns team, and all of a sudden the fire's gone a little bit.
Completely agree with you.
But let's go into the game that I'm sure you were excited to talk about, the Niners and the Rams. And as a Niners hater, which you are, and favorite team Rams, that was a crazy game. What went through your mind?
Look, man, coming into it, I told you last week, I don't think Rams are going to win. I mean, even with Niners, all their players also being injured, like Debo's out, McCaffrey's out, and then Kittle was a late scratch, he was out too. But again, Niners still have weapons. They have Ayuk still there. They have Jennings. People don't realize how loaded this team is, man. And so you still have weapons, right? I mean, Ayuk could be a number 1 option any team right now. Jennings could be like a number 2 option on any team right now. And Jennings is actually like the 5th option on that team. That's how crazy deep they are, right? Saying all that, my team, was down, the whole time. And, honestly, even during the game when we were down by 10 points or 7 points, I was like, man, I don't think we're out of this. Like, we're not. I really felt that Niners was playing with fire. Like, what Niners should have done is what Buffalo did today to Jags. Just blow them out. Because Rams had no one. We didn't have Cooper Kupp. We didn't have his name Puka. He wasn't playing. And then also our defense, our O-line's injured, our defensive line's injured. I mean, the only guy we have is our running back, Williams, which is good, and he stepped up huge, right? And so they're playing with fire. They're keeping it close, right? Again, the bad thing is they had that 10-point lead with 6 minutes to go. And next thing you know, Rams end up winning it. How do you blow that?
Yeah, I agree with you. I think the Niners should have stepped on the pedal. They went for conservative, and against a well-coached team like the Rams are. The Rams may not have the talent on paper besides Matthew Stafford. Like, everyone else is injured, like you said, right? Like, when you have a well-coached team, like a Sean McVay team, you kind of have to expect that there will be something that he has up his sleeve if you keep the game close. You kind of have to expect that. And I think Shanahan always kind of gets a little cocky. He's like, okay, we're going to win this pretty easily. Brock Purdy had a pretty good game overall, considering with the weapons that he was given, right? Like, Jennings had 175 yards. He had 292 with 3 touchdowns. But yeah, at the end of the game, I don't know what the Niners did. It just completely turned off. The defense just stopped wanting to do anything whatsoever, and it got them in trouble. And now, here we are, 1-2, same record as the Rams, but the Rams honestly had no business winning this game. And my favorite thing to see was watching all of those Niners fans at SoFi Stadium.
That was great.
Cheering, they're like, yeah.
That was great.
And then the post game, you just start seeing those all like sobby faces. Some of them starting into fights because they were so embarrassed by the loss. I saw a few fights in the Rams stadium again. Like, you can't fight in LA. Like, LA crowd is just something different. So
they took
it was
over
definitely
SoFi
an
Stadium,
entertaining
man.
game.
They
Yeah,
took
yeah,
over
and
the
that's the
SoFi
thing with
Stadium.
SoFi too, is like the Niners fans completely take it over, and the fact that you see that first-hand embarrassment, which it was, honestly, like they can't lose to the Rams, honestly. Like, no, like, shade
Had
to
no
you and your
business.
team, but like,
Had no
yeah, you
business
can't.
losing to Rams. And like, honestly, to be honest with you, I feel this was the biggest upset. To be honest with you, Niners losing was huge. Or like
Yeah.
Cincinnati losing today against Commanders are good. They had their
Mm-hmm.
weapons. Cowboys losing against a good Baltimore team. I still felt this was a big upset. Like, Niners had no business losing this game. This is the type of game that will come down if you're gonna get the field advantage, or like a one bye, basically. Because only one team gets it, right? So it'll come down. This is the type of game you'll look back in December and be like, dang, week 3 again in September we lost against the Rams with no one there, and that one game will make you play a home playoff game because they're second seed, not a first seed, right?
Yeah.
So this is the type of game that they're going to regret, which is great because Niners are going to be there in the end, obviously. But this is the type of game that they're going to regret, that they're not going to be the first seed versus the second seed, right? Because right now they could have been a 2-1 team instead of 1-2 team right now. And Seattle's leading the division with 3-0, a surprising team no one knows about, right?
Yeah.
So it's interesting. It's really interesting right now what's going on.
Yeah, I agree. I think it's definitely a very interesting way to start the season. I think between Seattle, I mean, they're good, but they're just not a playoff threat. But I want to get your take on this. So, like, between the Niners and the Ravens and the Bengals, the three. So Niners and Ravens are 1-2. Bengals are 0-3. Which one of those teams do you think is likely to miss the playoffs altogether?
Bengals.
Or is there more than one? Bengals?
No, Bengals. Yeah, I think Baltimore will bounce back. Baltimore, worst case worst, will make the wild card, but I don't see Bengals coming out of this 0-3, man. I'd be shocked if I'm in December and Bengals actually make the wild card, or even they win the division. I don't see them.
Yeah, considering who the Bengals have lost to, I think that's the most troubling part. They lost. You expect them to lose to the Chiefs. They've made it competitive, but the fact they lost to the Patriots and the Commanders, which are arguably one of the bottom 3 teams, right? Like, you can't lose to this. I mean, they couldn't given them a better shot to be 2-1 potentially this season. But yeah, the fact that they're 0-3 with the losses that they have now, I think they're definitely probably the ones from the outside looking in.
I mean, again, they have an easy schedule, right? They play Panther next week, so that's gonna help out. But again,
speaking of the Panthers, the red rifle came through, man. Andy Dalton had his first game starting after Bryce Young got benched. The Panthers won 36-22 against the Raiders. It was crazy to see. The vibes were so different in the Carolina, the team. Everyone's happy, everyone's stoked. Andy Dalton looks like the old Andy Dalton from the Bengals, like just throwing bombs everywhere, just looked so comfortable out there. Do you think this is like the Panthers are legit? Can he turn this around? What do you think?
Well, this is similar to what happened last year with Cleveland Brown, right?
Joe Flacco?
Came in. It made the playoffs, right? Yeah. It's very similar to this kind of script, right? I mean, again, Panthers, they're playing a pretty, who's gonna win that division? Like we said, but they're good, right? Saints are there, Tampa Bay's there, right? Carolina's there. I mean, we don't know who's going to win that division.
Right.
I mean, they're good right now. Saints, Tampa lost, Saints lost. So technically, Panthers only 1 game back, right? If you look at the whole scheme, right?
Yeah.
So,
right.
I mean, the offense came up, man. I mean, he threw, 319 yards with 3 touchdowns. I mean, you got Adam Thielen being the Minnesota Adam Thielen playing, man.
Yeah.
Everybody was catching the ball. I mean, you actually had like running backs running for 114 yards. I mean, with 21 rushes. Yep. So people were ready to go, man. And Raiders were coming off a really good victory against the Baltimore last week. So you know Raiders were pumped up, right? They thought they could beat Panthers. You know, I guarantee you Raiders once they beat Baltimore in their mind, they were like, okay, you know, we're gonna be 2-1 because we're gonna go to you know, Carolina's coming back. Carolina's coming home. It's our home stadium in Vegas.
Yeah.
They're having, you know, be changed. We're gonna win this game, and they end up losing it, man. So
yeah, it wasn't even close, honestly. Like it was a complete blowout from the first 3 quarters. I mean,
exactly.
And just to watch it happen, I remember watching. I was gonna watch a game, and then I remember seeing just the score at halftime. I was like, holy moly, the Carolina is up really, really, like, you know, bad on the Raiders. And I know there was some post game stuff with Antonio Pierce talking about some of his players decided to, what was it, cash it in or something like that. I forgot what phrase he used, but pretty much insinuating that they're just they didn't want to get injured. They're ready to just bounce. I know there's talk about Devontae Adams not being happy there. I mean, what do you expect? You know, like he has Jimmy G and he has Gardner Minshew throwing at him versus when he was in Green Bay, he had Aaron Rodgers of all people throwing at him. So, do you think Devontae Adams will get traded out of this team?
This is what separates. I hate bringing this back. This is what separates Justin Jefferson versus all these freaking receivers, man.
Right.
Justin Jefferson has no business being good, like this good, with Sam Darnold.
Yeah.
All right? Sam Darnold was out of the league. Sam Darnold didn't even work out with Carolina Panthers. He played for Carolina and it didn't work out for them, you know? And they had to, like, waive him or trade him or whatever the hell they did, you know? So imagine this same guy who played for Carolina is doing good in Minnesota, and Justin Jefferson is basically taking care of that team, right? He's the only guy, you know, who's actually being that leader, getting paid like a leader. Mm-hmm. So to your point, I mean, what is Adams bickering about? He wanted the contract, right? And Green Bay wasn't going to give him that contract. He was bickering because he wanted that contract, just like CeeDee Lamb, right? Just like, you know, Jamar Chase, everyone. And then Raiders were willing to give him that contract. They traded him to Raiders. Raiders gave him that big money. Well, what are you bitching about? Go out and play. Who cares about Gardner Minshew? Gardner Minshew is a good QB. He's not great. He's mediocre, good QB that can actually make throws, right? And Jimmy G is still talented where he took a 49er team to the Super Bowl, right? They almost won that Super Bowl. But, I mean, he in New England that there was talks that, hey, is it time for Tom Brady to be traded or what, or move on because Jimmy G is the guy now? Remember? I mean, there was talk back in 2017. Exactly. So Jimmy G is still a good QB, you know? I mean, he has ups and downs. So I'll take Jimmy G and Gardner Minshew over Sam Darnold any day. If you give me the order, right? Hey, Kenil, you have Jimmy G, you have Gardner Minshew, and you have Sam Darnold. My ranking would be Jimmy G, Gardner Minshew, and then third would be Sam Darnold. Because Sam Darnold stunk it up for the past 4 years. He didn't work out for Jets. He was like the top pick for Jets, like number 2 or number 3 pick, whatever it was. And then played for I think Carolina. That didn't work out. And now he's playing for Minnesota. It's working out for him, right? I mean, other players they did good. Like Gardner Minshew did good in Jaguars when he played for them, you know?
Yeah.
And so, I mean, that's my take. I mean, I think Adams should just play. And just play well.
Yeah. I agree with you there. I think he's ruining his legacy because he's just kind of been saying, I need a once-in-a-lifetime quarterback like Aaron Rodgers throwing to me to be great, you know? Like, that's what he's kind of insinuating, and I think that's going to cause him a lot of issues.
Yeah, 100%, man. I mean, think about it. He had Rodgers, and he wanted money, so he went to Raiders. I mean, why? You know, so it doesn't. I mean, he had a good opportunity to stay. Green Bay was offering him good money, but not that money that he wanted as a top 3 receiver. But he could have stayed with Rodgers. But now he's just bickering, man. I think he just wants to be traded to the Jets, man, to play back with Rodgers. I think that's what he's trying to do.
That might be a trade, you think?
I mean, honestly, I really feel he's doing a pathway to go to the Raiders. I'm not Raiders, sorry, the Jets, man. He knows Rodgers there, and I think that Jets might do it too because to make Rodgers happy, you know. So
Yeah, I think when people look back on it, they'll say between who was better, was it Aaron Rodgers or was it Devontae Adams? Because people had thought that maybe Devontae Adams made Aaron Rodgers look really good because of how much passing yards he was getting, all that kind of stuff. But now it seems like the opposite is, and honestly, any real NFL fan knows that Rodgers kind of made Adams who he is, because Rodgers is doing that to the receivers in his team right
Garrett
now.
Wilson,
Garrett Wilson, them, right? So. Yeah, exactly. So yeah, definitely interesting to see. I know there's a few other people that they had named that the Raiders might be looking into as well.
Oh yeah.
But let's see. Any other games stand out to you, man? From last week? I know we had the Chiefs winning against Falcons, kind of another controversial finish to that one.
Always Chiefs way, right? Eagles and Saints, I thought Saints was actually going to win that game. It kind of made that late surge in the fourth quarter and kind of play that defense, and Eagles came up clutch, man. So that
I don't know what the Saints are doing with that one, with that Goddard getting that 61-yard catch. I don't know what kind of defense was that. Why are you playing man coverage when it's 3rd and long? Just play zone, call it, and that's it. I mean, even a novice like Madden only person that I am, I know if it's 3rd and long, I'm gonna put zone out there because that's the best bet. And they just had to go man for some reason, and that's what caused the issue. And you had people running into each other, and then this crazy play at the end.
He had a 40-yard run, like, with the catch. I'm like, what are you, 40 or 50-yard run? And I'm like, come on.
And Sirianni was wanting to throw that game away. He made some really bad decisions again. We even had our mutual friend, he was texting me like, bro, the more I watch them, the more I realize how bad Sirianni is. I'm cussing at the screen. I was like, I'm telling you, man, he is the issue with your team, not the team itself. The team itself is great. You could put a Bill Belichick in there, and that team will turn around in an instant. But because you have Sirianni, who was literally trying to throw that game away again for the Eagles, somehow he got that miraculous play because the Saints did one better, So like, that was crazy.
Let me ask you, Tapas. Let me ask you that question really quick. One question. I want to ask you about that game. Sirianni question right there. The whole game, the Saints did not have an answer for Dallas, his name Goddard, right? Or his name tight end.
Yeah.
He had no answer. The whole game. They did not have an answer. Why not keep on going to him? I mean, they did. They finally freaking did in the fourth quarter, and he ran for that 60-yard, and that's what won them the game. The first half, they had no answers. Third quarter, they had no answers, but they weren't looking for him. The only reason they passed him that ball is because Devontae Smith was covered and the other receivers were covered. He was like the fourth option for Hurt. Like, why? The guy, New Orleans had no answer for him. He was a big guy, couldn't get him. He had like 170 yards. I mean, 10 touches. You know what I mean? I think they could have just fed him the ball and could have opened up everything else. Could have made the life so much easier. This game could have been on their hand in the first half if they just kept on going to him. But again, Sirianni doesn't want to do that.
Yeah, I don't know what it was, because DeVonta Smith got injured there in that game too, and that's where it kind of opened up Goddard as well. And I know Barkley had a monster game, but some of the stuff like the fourth and shorts, they had a 4th and inches. They said instead of doing their classic what do you call that, push thing, whatever. They decided to go run the ball the other way. The tush push. Instead of doing that, they decided to run the ball the other way with Barkley, who didn't get the first down. Like, it's just like, what are you doing? Like, 4th and inches, that's automatic tush push territory. You guys are the best in the NFL at doing that. Just do that, but he just get cute, go around, and then lost it down. And again, he wanted to throw that game away, but it's just, I mean, the Saints did them one better. Yeah, they got lucked out.
Exactly.
But and it's the last game I think we'll talk about, because the other one kind of predictable. The Packers. Oh, actually, let's talk about the Packers. Malik Willis looks. Do you think so? Watching Malik Willis play, right?
Yeah.
Do you think maybe the Packers are like, did we overpay for Jordan Love?
What he's playing?
Because he looks good. He's a mobile quarterback, which is perfect for this team.
He always had really good, man. He always had talent, man. He played his former team, right? Tennessee Titans. It's just that he played well for them too, but they drafted Willis like so early, or what? Not Willis, sorry, Levis. What is his name? Levis. Yeah, they drafted him so high, 2nd round pick, and so obviously they want to see what they have in him. But Malik Willis played well for them, man, like 2 years ago. Yeah. So they moved on with him way too quick, and he's a raw talent. he hasn't reached his peak yet, and that's the thing,
Right.
And they found a really good backup in him, and he's playing well. He's playing within the system, right? That's winning them the games.
That's my point. He's playing within the system, which Jordan Love is also doing a really good job. So is it just more of a system thing, like the Niners, right, where you can throw a Brock Purdy in there and he'll still do well? So do you think maybe they probably are like, I mean, not that they can turn back, but like, do you think maybe they're like, did we jump into Jordan Love a little too soon, making him the third highest quarterback, right, in NFL? Like,
I always feel that,
is doing a really good job.
Honestly, when Packers gave him that contract, I was like, why? Why not just wait till the end of the year and see how he does? Last year, he had an unbelievable season. Second half and the playoffs, he did well. See if it can even match something similar to that this year, right? Why pay him, right? I mean, to be honest with you, Jordan Love, I was never that high on. He's not like a QB that, like a Joe Burrow that you want to pay him and make him a franchise right away. I mean, you can find like Jordan Love's. I'm gonna get texts from our friends for this, brother. But Jordan Love, you can find a Jordan Love in drafts, in the first round if you need to. He's nothing special. He's a timely, coachable player. He plays within the system. You put him in some other system, like put him in Carolina. I don't think he'll do that good.
Yeah. No.
I don't think he will. I mean, the coach sucks over there. I mean, he wouldn't do what he's doing. Willis, same thing with Willis. He wasn't doing good in Tennessee. He did good, but again, he didn't do good enough where they had to go draft, a QB in the second round last year. Yeah. So that's what I'm saying. So I don't know. They kind of jumped the boat on Jordan Love. They could have waited.
I agree.
They didn't have to. Jordan Love wasn't going to go anywhere. Jordan Love wasn't gonna go anywhere. He's not a franchise QB where fine. If you're not gonna sign me, I'm gonna go to Carolina. I'm gonna walk my butt to Carolina, dude, and get my money there. No, dude. Jordan Love was gonna be still there.
The door. No one lining up outside the door like, oh my god, please just tell us the Packers won't sign. We'll take you right away. No one was doing that. He had a good second half of last season. Just because of that, he got his big fat contract. But it's like, now you're seeing Malik Willis do really, really well. And you're just like, I mean, I felt with the Packers, I'd be like, why the hell did we pay so much for Jordan Love? We could have just gotten this. Like we should have waited a little bit and see if this is truly what it.
I mean, if you look at it, like Malik Willis and Jordan Love are very similar, man. Run the ball, they throw the ball at a timely manner. I mean, they're very similar players. Right. Like if you put them side by side, they have a similar style to play. And so, I mean, I don't know what Packers were thinking. I mean, honestly, it's not on Packers. I mean, because that team is owned by the city, right, or owned by fans. So I don't know what the fans were thinking. So I mean, the board of directors, I don't know what they were, thinking. Hey, let's give him that money, or $240 million or whatever he got paid. I don't know, man. This is ridiculous. I wasn't special like that. But we can move on from Jordan Love conversation here.
Yeah, that was a terrible game. But okay. Let's see. I think the last one, maybe just as a surprise again. Didn't expect them to be doing this well at 3-0. The Vikings are again, like you said, Justin Jefferson totally leading that team. They are doing an amazing job. Sam Darnold looks like a revived man.
Yep.
I'm happy for them, honestly, because they're leaving their division, even though your boy, the Bears, Caleb Williams was supposed to be the number one. He had a good game last week, but there's something in the Minnesota waters. I don't know what it is. I think it'll be probably down to Minnesota versus Green Bay for that division. It's looking like that, at least.
Yeah, it is.
But I'm happy for them. And, I think Justin Jefferson finally getting that, because he's always been a top two, wide receiver. But I think he's finally getting recognition that he needs to get. From the whole league, because it's always like CD Lamb, it's always Cooper Kupp, but he's always been really good, Mr. Consistent.
So they beat, out of the 3 games, they beat two of the teams that are going to win the division. And one team's actually going to win the conference, which is the Niners. They gave Niners their first loss. And the second team they beat was Texans, which is going to win that division. Texans are loaded, right? They're going to win that division. And so playing good against those teams, right? That says a lot. And now week 4, they're playing the Packers, right? Yeah. Guarantee you, huge. Jordan Love will play that game. It's in Lambeau.
You think he'll be back by then?
Well, because he was questionable for Tennessee game, and he was a late scratch. They kind of kept him questionable all the way till Friday, and then Saturday was a scratch. That means it's very close of coming back. So I really feel that this is a really big game. This game is going to be, who kind of gets that edge to win the division. To be honest with you, right?
Yeah.
If Vikings goes 4-0 and Green Bay goes 2-2, that will be the record they lose. They're potentially 2 games back, right? Not even a game and a half, 2 games back. The whole 2 games back. So I think Jordan Love will be back. And again, Jordan Love got paid, right? He got paid like a franchise QB. Unless he steps up in this big game. And if he loses against a backup QB, Sam Darnold, and Justin Jefferson, now you tell me, does he deserve that money? You know, I'm not gonna say a lot, but I'm just saying, people are gonna say that it's his first game, coming off that injury. That's gonna be their excuse, right? I'll tell you Green Bay's excuse already if they lose that game. It was Jordan Love's first game. He was out for like 2 games, so he wasn't in sync.
Right.
He didn't have his rhythm, so Vikings got lucky. You know, that's what they're gonna say.
Yeah,
but look, again,
of course,
loss is a loss. So let's see what happens.
I agree with you because. If he is not 100%, then don't put him out there. Put Malik Willis. Malik Willis is doing well, so why not just go with him? And especially if Jordan Love is not 100%, if you're gonna make that,
the rhythm is there.
Excuse afterwards, right? It's all clicking there, right? So why not just put the best team out there that's fully healthy versus putting Jordan Love just to prove a point? I think that's a bad move, but we'll see. That's definitely gonna be an interesting game to watch. I think looking for next week, Bills and Ravens. Should be a good game, I think. Ravens are on a little bit of a redemption tour. Bills are red hot right now, so that might be, for me at least, that's the game of the week. How about you?
That was. Isn't that a Sunday night game?
Sunday Night Football.
Yeah. Sunday Night Football. Yeah. Damn. Should I say my Rams and Bears? I'm just joking, though. I'm not gonna say Rams and Bears. No, my game. Honestly, I'm gonna say Vikings and Packers. It's just there's so much there.
Yeah.
Or Saints and Falcons. They're both playing well, even though both teams lost last week. But besides that, I do gotta agree with you, man. Bills and Ravens. That's gonna be the best game. I mean, I'm excited for it. It's gonna be a close one. Different teams, 2 complete different offense. You know, the way they run. There's a traditional Josh Allen, QB that's just gonna throw the ball, and you got Lamar Jackson who can run the ball with Derrick Henry in the backfield with him. So I don't know who's gonna win that game, but it's gonna be a good ass game. So, but that is the best game though.
I agree, and it's at Baltimore too, so I think that's gonna be a huge advantage for the Ravens.
Huge.
I do also think the Chiefs get their first loss next week against the Chargers. I know the Chargers are coming off of a loss, but I do feel like the Chargers will win this game.
Herbert is injured.
Are not looking too strong. But the Chiefs themselves are not looking 100%. They've been barely getting by each game. They're not as dominant as they need to be. Like each game is a controversial fourth quarter. Something happens. You know, whether it was the Pat PI a couple weeks ago. I think last game there was some questionable flags as well towards the end of the game. It was just they're barely getting by. I do feel like the Chargers will be able to beat them.
Is it me or is Mahomes throwing more interceptions this year than he did in the other years? Like even last game, right? He threw it in the end zone, interception. I'm like, what's going on with him?
Yeah,
he doesn't
Kelsey's
do this kind of
himself.
Kelsey's definitely not.
I don't know if he's just kind of just coasting right now because he's maybe saving for until the postseason, but or maybe Taylor, they'll be probably getting ready to propose something like that. But
I don't know, man. I mean, again, they're lucky they got Rashid Rice playing well.
Yeah.
So that's kind of taking a lot of pressure off Kelsey, right? So, but again, man, I mean, Mahomes he's doing average just to win games, but he's not the Mahomes that does what Mahomes does. It's not Mahomes type of game yet, that has happened.
Yeah.
He's been throwing interceptions. I'm like, what is he? He's becoming like a Jack Prescott. Just throwing interceptions.
Yeah.
What are you doing? In the end zone?
Yeah, he's making a lot of questionable throws.
Yeah, I'm like, come on. So, yeah. I mean, I agree. I mean, but again, let's see how healthy, because Bosa's not playing either and injured his hamstring again. So, I mean, Bosa's a big factor pressuring the QB, man. Yeah. I mean, Joey Bosa's huge, so.
I agree.
I mean, so it's going to matter about the health with Chargers, but there's a good chance Chargers are playing well. I mean, they did lose to Steelers. I mean, I don't know what the hell Steelers, man. 3-0. Again, that team, too. I don't know what's happening. That's all coach right there, man. That's just literally all coach right there. Nothing else. Coaching is everything for that team, man. Mike Tomlin.
Russell Wilson come back, I would be like, you know what, Justin Fields, you just stay out there. Let's just keep riding this until we get it right. Like I feel like they will screw it up with putting Wilson, and they need to put Wilson out there. I think that's one of the things that they had promised him for taking such a low contract. But they need to just stick with Justin Fields. He's doing a good job.
He's not. Again, he's playing within the system of Tomlin, right?
Yeah.
When to throw, when not to throw, that's making him good, right? And they're winning games. He's not doing what Bears told him. Hey, do whatever the hell you want. Become that star QB for us, Justin Fields, and he didn't do good, right? But here it's all coaching, man. It's like Belichick's offense, man.
Play it smart.
You just play within the offense. Like that's all you have to do. You know,
don't take care of you. Just play it smart. Don't throw it away. Give the defense a rest. We'll keep the possession time going for us, and then we'll be fine. Like 100%. I agree. I think there's something happening there too. I'm happy because I'm a Tomlin fan. I think he gets a lot of
he's a really good coach. Really good coach.
He's a really, really good coach that he's been doing a lot with less last few years, and he's still being very successful. So I do like Coach Tomlin a lot.
100%.
All right, let's for our last segment, let's change over to baseball. We have Ohtani. Just man, I mean, he's becoming a household name to the point that my wife Jen does not watch baseball at all whatsoever.
Yes.
But she's like, this Ohtani guy, should we go watch him? Like all I see is this Ohtani. I'm like, he is not even a once in a generation. He's a once in a lifetime player right now. Like we may not see a better player in our lifetime since Ohtani. Honestly, like he's been absolutely killer. Is he what at 51, 51 now or 52, 52? You're past 50.
He's at 55. Right? He's at 53, 53 home runs and 55 steals.
Wow. You think it's 60?
Yeah.
What do you think?
If there was another week after this, then I think you could have cracked that. Again, man, this is just crazy. I never thought, a 50-50 could be even possible. The way baseball works is either you're short and small and steal bases, or either you're big and strong and hit home runs. There has been never a player who's big, strong, who hits home run, but who's also fast. Because usually people who are tall and strong, they're not fast runners, right? Because you steal base, you gotta be like a Mighty Mouse. You just gotta run and steal. So baseball has never witnessed a thing where this player, like you said, once in a lifetime generational player come out and hit 50 home runs and steal 50 bases, right? He did it fast. Okay, do you want to hear a stat on this? When he hit his 50-50, he did it faster than players who have reached 40-40.
Wow.
Imagine that.
That's
just
crazy.
Get through that thought process. Like, players who have done 40-40 took them the same amount of time that what Ohtani did as 50-50.
Damn.
That's just mind-boggling to me. I mean, I'm like, that's unbelievable. I feel like if Ohtani's on fire, right? I don't see him hitting 7 more home runs. If he does it by Sunday, he automatically will be in Hall of Fame by next year if he can. But this guy, nobody will ever touch. I feel like 50-50, maybe there might be a player who will come along and might come close to that. But I don't think 50-50 can be touched like Kobe's 81. That's where I put 50-50. 81 is still hard to reach. Players have came close. Like Devin Booker has scored 61. Some other players have scored like 71, like Donovan Mitchell. They scored 71, all that. Nobody has touched 81 yet, right? Or 80 points, whatever he scored. So that's how I feel about 50-50, that I don't feel any players will come close to this 50-50 mark. And I do feel if Ohtani can stay healthy, he does have a chance to break his own record and get 60-60. And that will never be touched. That will never be touched.
And the crazy thing is that Ohtani, this is his recovery season. Like, he's not pitching this season, right? So, like, technically should have been his down year, where like he's not pitching and he's not like fully like involved with that side. But the fact that he's able to do this and still like again keep it, and it's one thing to do this when you're in a crappy team where you have a lot of opportunities. But it's another thing to do with when you're the number one team or number one in your division, and you're like doing this amazing, the stats he's putting up, right? I mean, he's second in the league in RBI, second home runs. Was he third or second in the?
Yeah,
second in stolen bases.
He's top 5 in everything almost, man. Like he's shouting every record.
It's absolutely ballistic to see this.
Imagine if he pitched and he went you could have won Cy Young, MVP, Silver Slugging, you could have won everything if he did it this year. And like you said, this is not his best season because he's recovering from his Tommy John surgery that he had. You know, it's supposed to be a okay year for him, and next year is supposed to be the best year for him, right?
Right.
And like you said, Angels sucked. He was on a sorry team, and he did put up good numbers. But look, now people are watching Ohtani, right? He's getting talked about. Ohtani did good stats, not amazing, but good stats. For Angels, he put up good numbers, but he was not talked about because Angels, again, they're going nowhere. So with Dodgers, with Mookie behind him and everything, like. It shows like he's doing what he's supposed to do, man.
Yeah, I'm excited.
Rumor that he's gonna pitch in the playoffs, so
that'd be crazy. I say let's not have him pitch. I think the Dodgers really need to be 100% healthy going into the postseason because as amazing that as his 50-50 is and all that stuff, like in order to make this season memorable, is that you have to have a deep playoff run. Like you can't get bounced in the first round like they did last year. Right? You have to make it at least, to at least to the National League Championship. Like you want to get at least there, not maybe World Series. Sure, that's best scenario, but they cannot get bounced the first round. Like that is the one thing that will taint this entire season, and all those stats that he has. It'll be all worthless because people will be like, yeah, great, he did all that, but what did the Dodgers get? They got bounced round. So all I'm hoping for is now, okay, we got that, we put it behind us. Let's really have a strong postseason, because this is where this season will be memorable for him. If they're able to go deep in the playoffs, then all of this is totally worth it for him.
And right now Dodgers are the best record. That's what right now we talk. They're 93 and 63, the best record. Philadelphia is right behind us, 93 and 64, and the Yankees are 92 and 64 as well. So they're right behind us. So Dodgers, with all the injuries, our pitching staff not doing what it's supposed to do, we have the best record in MLB. I mean, we're going to the last week, last 5-6 games now. Hopefully they just finish it off strong, like you said, and, have a deep playoff run. I mean, baseball, hunt for October is right there, man. It's coming through. So, I mean, it's going to be a good playoffs. I mean, wild card race is getting very tight, Tapas. I mean, there's 2 wild card teams usually makes it now. So, in National League, if you look at the wild card race, I mean, San Diego is going to clinch it, the first one. The second one,
for sure,
is coming down to either the Mets, the Arizona Cardinals, or Atlanta Braves right now, man. They're all like 1 or 2 games apart, like a game and a half apart. So, and same thing with the American League again, man. Baltimore's going to clinch it, but then you have about 4 teams who are gunning for that last wild card.
3 games separate them. Yeah.
Like, literally. Like,
whoever gets hot.
Unbelievable. Exactly.
Yeah. Especially with the Royals losing 7 straight. Like, that's not helping them. They should not.
And they had that. And they're doing good the whole season. And Detroit, out of nowhere, is right there, down the neck of Royals. And then Minnesota. And then Seattle. I mean, it's coming down. Everybody else has like secured their division, kind of, clinched, but it's coming down. It's coming down strong. So let's see how it goes.
Yeah, again, I don't watch baseball all the time, but this postseason was the one that I will definitely watch because I think, again, hoping with the Dodgers, continue to have a deep playoff push, and then just to see even the Yankees. I know Aaron Judge is also having a killer season. It's not getting talked about a lot. I'm sure in New York it is, but not everywhere else because Ohtani is just doing freaking setting world records. But Aaron Judge is having a crazy season as well. So. Definitely excited to see, man. Can't wait for the playoffs, man. It'll be awesome.
Before that and the Ohtani thing, Ohtani was about 10 home runs back of Aaron Judge starting the month of September. 10 home runs. That's a lot. Being down 10. Okay, home runs not easy to come by. He overtook him in home runs.
I know. I remember when we first talked about Ohtani possibly getting the 40-40 and 50-50, and I was like, I remember at that time you told me like, yeah, like Aaron Judge is so far ahead in home run, but now when we look at it again, like, yeah, he's already
Ohtani
caught up
took
to
over
him.
him.
It's
the fashion
crazy.
He did it. That game, I don't know if you saw that game or if you heard about that game. He did it in a fashion 5 for 5.
Yeah. 10 RBIs,
3 home runs that game.
3 home runs. Right.
He hit his 49th.
One of the greatest performances
ever. He hit his 49th. He hit his 50th and the 51st.
Yeah.
5 for 5.
Almost got a cycle, right?
He almost got a cycle. Almost got a cycle.
Yeah.
He had like, I think 2 steals that game too. 2 or 3. What he had, man? 5 for 5 game. No Dodgers had even had that before. He's the first Dodger to even hit 50 home runs. No Dodger has ever reached that yet. That's how crazy it is.
Man, well, kudos to the Marlins coach. You know, they talked about it, like, well, why don't you walk Ohtani? He's like, you know what? Well, this is a game of baseball. We're gonna try to throw him out. We're not gonna it's a good moment for baseball. I think he knew that Ohtani may or may not have a great season, but he wanted to give a shot. Like, let's see if he can really pull it off against us. And I kudos to him because again, when Barry Bonds was breaking his records back then, like everyone was walking him nonstop, you know. And no one was willing to give him a chance. I think the fact that the Marlins coach was like, you know what, let's see if you can actually do it against us. And obviously Ohtani did, but I do give him huge props for that.
And you know what? I'm glad the media has caught on to that. Actually, we talked about it more because what he said in the press conference, like you just stated, he said that, the baseball gods are looking down. And the way you play the game is you don't be coward about it. You pitch pitch to the hitter. We know that he's going to break it anytime. It could be against us. It could be against some other team. He's going to break it against one team for sure. Pitch him, play him, and play man-to-man, And if he does it, he does it. I mean, we don't want to be on that side of it. We are. I feel bad for us, but hey, we're going to do the right thing in the right way. They could have easily walked him the whole series. They could have said, we don't want to see him,
Yeah. Huge props. And again, I think baseball really needs it too. Their popularity has been shrinking a little bit in terms of NFL, NBA, and then it's baseball nowadays.
Yeah.
So I think they definitely need that, especially going into the playoffs, which is when most people will start tuning in. If they have a good game like this, people are like, oh, like we gotta watch a Dodger because this guy just had a crazy game. I think it's great. It's good for baseball itself too. So I'm glad he did that. That's really awesome of him. But yeah, man, that will wrap up week 6 for us, dude.
Of course, man.
Crazy football season already, man. I'm enjoying this. I'm enjoying 100%. All of this. Like, what is going on? Like, no full dominant team so far. So it makes watching football so much more fun.
Amazing, man. I'm so happy. Glad football's back, baseball's back. Basketball's gonna be talked about next week. Media day starts next week. That's around the corner. I like our new time slot. I like this Monday night podcast. We can talk about and review week, the previous week to the new week, which is great. The swing, man. Can't wait, Tapas. Love it, brother.
Dude, it's gonna be awesome, man. All right, well, we will see you guys next week. Same time, same place. Bye, guys.
Take care.